Now, it must be crazy. Hi, everybody. I'm in the evening, 6:23 p.m. What? Who am I? What have I done with me? Hi, I haven't just woken up right now. I've actually been spending the entire day setting up Dice Check with Demeki in the new office. It has been exhausting. It's involved multiple cameras hanging from the ceiling, running wires across offices, a lot of questions about power over Ethernet, building an entire brand new PC, which he did most of because he's better at that than I am, and setting up God knows what else. It has been a whole lot of work. And today just happened to be points day. So even more so going on. Points. Points. Yes. So let's talk points. Points are an interesting thing. Whether you have good points or not is like just throwing darts at a board, my guy. This is not going to be me covering every single army with points and stuff. In fact, I feel like I have to give up on covering every single army at this point with the amount of data sheets coming out. I'm just running out of stuff. I might just do the rest of my armies and leave it then, because it's just getting too much. But points have been, okay, there's a lot going on. There are like a million changes. Some I like, some I don't, some I scratch my head about. And then we actually get into the real point values. This is not going to be me talking about every single faction's points. This is me going to be kind of like trying to do an overarching explanation discussion on how I feel about this new change. So let's go with sisters, because it's the first one right here, Adeptus Sororitas, and they are my main army. So you'll notice a couple things. One, this fits on one page. Two, there is not points per model. And three, there are no war gear costs. Power level was a thing that we had in 9th and nobody liked and nobody used. Games Workshop has decided you're going to use power level whether you like it or not. So here we are. You might notice something like, let's go with the Celestian Sacrosanct squad right here. Celestian Sacrosancts have two values, 5 points a model and 10 points a model. At 5 points a model, they are 65 points, which equates to 13? Yeah, 13 points a model. I don't even know why I had to do that math. I could have literally done with the 10 points a model part. Doesn't matter. So, 13 points a model. However, there is a new adjustment to how squad sizes work. You can take 5, models of Sacrosancts. You can actually take 6 models, 7, 8, 9, and 9 models, as well as 10. But based on the way this works, if you do that, it will have to be the upper limit. Basically, if you take 5 models, you're 65 points. The moment you step over that line, you cross that barrier, you have entered the realm of 10 models. 5 models are 65 points. 6 models are 130 points. It is not 78 points. It is 130. 5 models is 65 points. 6 models is 130. 7 is 130. 8 is 130. 9 is 130. 10 is 130. That's what it is now. And you might be thinking, but Bricky, what about that war gear stuff? Hand flamers, Spear of the Faithful, it's all free. War gear is free across the board for everybody. And I'm not even talking about just small war gear. Okay, so let's go to a different one. Let's go to page 20. Let's go to the Leagues of Votann, right? A pretty short list. Let's go ahead and read up on the Leagues of Votann, right? So if you go to the Votann, there they are, you might notice that they are, nope, I am in the wrong spot. Nope. I apologize. Here we are. you might notice something bizarre, where I'm probably going to look at the regular Votann data sheet, which means me going here didn't even mean anything. I'm so stupid. I'm literally going here. God damn it, Bricky. Okay, you might notice something like all these special weapons here and all of these war gear abilities. They're all free, my guy. They're all free. Every single one of them. So if you go to the Leagues of Votann and you look at Hearthkin Warriors, it's 10 models for 135 points, which is not divisible without decibels, but it's fine. 135 points. Now you might be thinking, damn, that's really expensive. Like Hearthkin Warriors at 135? Well, they're basically accounting for the fact that you're taking everything. Because why wouldn't you? You know, it's like, okay, you can change their blaster, but up to 2 Hearthkin Warriors can have their gun replaced with one of the following. You're just going to take it. Like Magna Rail Rifle and Plasma Beamer, maybe. You know? And then the Thane can have a kin melee weapon. Cool, he's going to take it. Or a plasma pistol. Cool, he's going to take it. Up to 3 Hearthkin Warriors can have one of these 3 things. You can take them all. So now there's a couple questions you might be asking to yourself. Bricky, why would you ever not take all of these things? You wouldn't. You'll take them all. Like you just wouldn't. Like, why wouldn't I take this? Because you wouldn't. You're going to. You might be asking also, well, what's the point of war gear abilities? All the war gear is free, so why does this matter? Because war gear is attached to a model. So the reason that you still take these is because the moment that model can die, and then you lose it. You know the comms array Hearthkin Warrior might die, and then the unit might still be alive, so you get the rest, but he might die. So that's a whole thing. So war gear is across the board free. It's just completely across the board free. So that's crazy. Continuing this, we now know that detachment enhancements do cost points. Indeed, they do. So, couple things. Min models or max models? Let's be honest, just because you can take more in a squad, like 6 to 9, you're not going to do it. You're not going to do it. You are taking min or max. That's the only options you have. Min or max. That's it. Don't pretend like you're gonna middle ground it. You're not. Min or max. And detachments we now know cost points. So that's good. That's good to know that we know that they cost points, because some did not seem balanced compared to others. But now that we know they cost points, hey, it's a whole different thing, right? You can take 3 out of 4, and they, maybe you will, maybe you won't. Who knows? So, those are the 2 most important things to note. Is that the points for war gear is free across the board. And you might originally start looking at certain things like Battle Sisters are 11 points a model. And at first I'm like, GW again, GW, massively over compensating for the cost of Battle Sisters. Thinking that T3 1 wound, but because they have a 3-up save and they hit on 3s, they're suddenly 11 points a model? Like come on, GW. Well, I originally thought that to begin with. That was my first thoughts. And then I was like, oh, wait a minute. So 11 points a model, but you get the Simulacrum for the extra Miracle dice for free. And then the Sergeant can take a Power Sword for free. And then I could take a Multi-Melta for free. And then I can get the Sister Superior to give her a combi weapon or in Condemner bolt gun or plasma pistol for free, and a special weapon for free. And then I'm like, okay, 11 points per model is actually not so bad. When in the olden days it was 11 multi-melta, so 30 or 130 because it's 20 points, and then 135 for power weapon, and then 140. Or hell, 45 for combi weapon, and then 155 for a regular Meltagun 10-point special weapon. Or maybe it was 5 points, whatever. And then 5 more points for a Simulacrum. It makes a whole big difference now. But then there are other things, like what if we go to Mechanicus? Like I don't know about you guys, but while you are currently paying for your extra fancy pantsy, free war gear. Where the hell is Skitarii? God damn it, Skitarii. There you are. While you are paying or getting extra war gear for free data tether, free omni specs, free alpha combat weapon, free transuranic arc bus, all that kind of stuff. I really got to be honest, my guy. I don't think Skitarii are worth like 12.5 points a model. Like, are you kidding me? 12, like they're more costly than sisters are. And as far as I'm concerned, they're worse in like all kinds of ways. Their save is significantly worse. They have the same invul save. Their rifles are worse, actually. Well, they get the extra shot and they have better range, but they hit on 4s. I guess it's a little comparable because I have only one shot with my bolt guns and it's rapid fire 1, but you longer range, but you also hit on 4s. Okay. Screw the weapon part. Screw the weapon part. Like you just don't get the extra benefits that I get as sisters by a whoppingly large margin. You don't have the power that I have. And let me make this clear. This isn't me saying make Battle Sisters more expensive. No, I'm loving this. This is my favorite thing in the world right here. I love this to death. Lower the Ranger costs because 125 for 10? Are you kidding me? So then we get into the other weird stuff, right? The points cost. And it feels, sometimes I look at that and I get really happy. Certain armies right now are just loving life. Oh my God, right? Me, sisters, most of our infantry stuff feels pointed relatively properly. Like relatively. Battle Sisters are 11 points a model. Some might think that's too expensive, but with a free multi-melta and all the benefits they get, I'm okay with that, right? Mortifiers are 60. That's fine for the most part. Dominions are 130, 20 extra points, but you got all those extra special weapons for free and they get a scout move. Novitiates are 10 for 90. It's like, okay. Then you're like, Morvenn Vahl is 135. And then you say, what? Morvenn Vahl has been dropped in half. She was like 270. Half. Triumph of St. Catherine, down 50. 150 now. Celestine, the living saint. Wait, she's St. Celestine now. Down 50. Like, massive drops across the board. Repentia Squad, 150 for a max. That includes the Superior. That's cheaper. But then I'm like, oh my God, these are so goddamn cheap. Like Hospitalers, a 5 Feeling of Pain for 40 points. Imagifier, 40. Dialogus, 35. Yo, she's good now. She's actually good now. Are you sure about that? Are you sure about that? GW, are you sure about that? But then at the same time, it's like, it's weird because you think about it in other ways. Because you think, okay, Morvenn Vahl is cheap as hell, but she is paying the Paragon tax. Like, if you're taking Morvenn Vahl, you have to take Paragons. And Morvenn Vahl is only buffing Paragons. Like, is Morvenn Vahl's 135 points because she can give full rerolls to hit and wound to anything and have an aura of reroll 1s to hit and wound worth that points? Maybe? Because full rerolls to hit and wound on a squad of Retributors with multi-meltas is like fucking, it killed anything in the game. Like, it basically one-shot anything in the game, like including knights. It was insanity. Now it's just for the Paragons, which have 3 multi-meltas instead of 4, but multi-meltas have 18-inch range now, and things are different, So like you have to pay the Paragon tax if you want to take Morvenn Vahl. Like you have to pay the Battle Sister tax if you want to take the Triumph of St. Catherine. Or the Seraphim or Zephyrim tax if you want to take Celestine. So there's questions there. But then you go like Custodes, right? Custodes are expensive. But then they have these wacky squad sizes. Like Flying Boy. It's because of the what's in the box thing they always do, right? Why are bike boys 2 models, 3 models, 5 models, and 6 models? Because the bike box that contains, I believe, 3 bikes in total. I think it's 3 bikes. You could turn one of them into a shield captain. You know, a shield captain on bike. So it's the shield captain and 2 bikes. Or you did 3 bikes. Or 3 and 2. Or 3, 3. You know, same thing with Alarus Custodians. You had a Terminator Alarus there, Terminator Shield Captain, so it's 2 and 3 or 5 and 6. Same thing with Prosecutors, because you can make a Blade Champion. No, a Knight Centura. Custodian Wardens don't have that, so they're 3 and 6. Custodian Guard do have that, because there's a Shield Captain, so 4, 5, 9, and 10. It's weird. I know what they're going for, but it's weird. And then, you know, Mechanicus, I'm not going to lie, Mechanicus, guys. I was really waiting for your points to come out. And I want to make this clear. Don't you dare pull some kind of, I told you they would be bad. Don't you dare. Because you don't get all puffing your chest out because you got lucky. You know, you didn't know. You didn't know how good your points were going to be. No one knew. I told you to calm down and wait. But if you're like, see, Bricky, I knew they would be trash. No. None of us knew. None of us had any idea. You just got lucky that your points were dog shit. AdMech I feel like they're being put into a grave. A grave. An Iron Strider Ballistari is 1 las cannon shot for 50 points. And this model costs like $60. The money for this model is overtaking the points cost. This is a genuine $2,000 for an army bullshit right there. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. And then there's so many random like confusion things. Belisarius calls 185, Morvenval is 135. Very bizarre. Go to Eldar. What have you done to Eldar? Oh my God. All of the fun stuff I like feel like crap. Jane Czar, Malgan Raw, all of the Phoenix Lords, you know, the, where are they? Striking Scorpions feel really expensive. Fire Dragons, really expensive. Swooping Hawks, etc. Everything is so insane. But then the Wraith Knight is 370 points? What? This thing is insane. It's insanity powerful. Like just, whoa. Oh, and that's not even the most egregious thing in Eldar. Where's the Fire Prism? Where is that thing? The Fire Prism, 125. Have you seen what the Fire Prism does? Have you seen what it does? Are you aware of what the Fire Prism does? I don't know if you're aware. That's a Falcon. Oops. This thing has 2 shots at strength 18, AP 4, and damage 6. By the way, if you have multiple fire prisms, you can measure range and determine visibility for any fire prism that is visible to the bearer. By the way, it's 60-inch range. By the way, you get to reroll 1 hit roll and 1 wound roll every time you fight. By the way, your Eldar attachment lets you reroll 1 hit roll and 1 wound roll every time. So when you're firing, 3 fire prisms for 375 points, a pittance, you are getting 6 shots at strength 18, AP 4, 6 damage, where only 1 fire prism needs to see the opponent, and you get to re-roll everything. Because you get to re-roll technically 2 hits and 2 wounds. What is that? What is that? You're getting triple fire prism. You're gonna see triple fire prism. But then all the fun aspect warriors are like doo-doo. Like massive doo-doo. Oh yeah, Agents of the Imperium. The Vindicare Assassin is 80 points. So have fun with that. You're gonna see that in every Imperium army. Every single one is gonna take a Vindicare. I would. I do that with everything. Knights, Custodians, Guards, Sisters. Not even a question. Not even a question. I would take that. Cal, this is 115. Leash. Other stuff to know. Astra Militarum. Remember when we said that indirect fire ruined the game and it still always ruins the game? Well, how about this? All of your Leman Russes are very, very expensive now. The minimum Leman Russ cost is 180. Now, granted, I will say this is because Leman Russ tanks now get to take all of their weapons. So before, we as Leman Russ, tank people would not take, say, sponsons or something like that. That's Rogel Dorn. Here we are. Now the Leman Russ battle tank does and can take sponsons. So it can be equipped with a free hunter killer missile, a free heavy stubber, and a 2 free plasma cannons or multi-meltas on the sides. Also, its rule is really good. Reroll a hit roll of 1, and if it's within range of an objective mark you don't control, reroll the full hit rolls. Okay. Leman Russ battle tank, 195. It's unfortunate that it's so pricey, but when you combine all that stuff together, okay, I kind of get it. Especially because it's got a 2-up save, T11, 13 wounds. Okay, fine. Fair enough. But the Basilisk is 110 points. The Wyvern is 90. 90. The Manticore is 105. We've seen maybe 30 point or more drops on almost all of the indirect fire. Where's the field ordnance batteries? 50 points each. 50 points each for huge guns. Huge guns. I cannot find the field ordnance battery. It's indirect. Trust me, they're good. Or at least they're decent. It is a lot of indirect fire. And we know that indirect fire is a problem. Helbrecht is 105. Good God. But then there's demons, right? Bellicor is 325. And a Keeper of Secrets is, where are they? Is 330. A Keeper of Secrets, unnamed, is more expensive than Bellicor, who can make your entire army untargetable outside of 18. Well, not your entire army, an aura around him. And then Shalaxi is 400, and Scarbrand is 365. I guess Bellicor doesn't need to be as powerful as some of these, bigger, scarier, named ones, but Shalaxi is 400 and Rodigus is 285. 115 point difference. But he's cheaper than a unnamed rando Keeper of Secrets. Also, the Lord of Change is 230 points. And a regular Demon Prince is 215. You're paying only 15 more points for a Lord of Change. Chaos Knights. They're a lot cheaper. Night Tyrants, 485. Wow. They've all gone down. And then there's Chaos Space Marines, right? As a major Night Lords player, right? We're looking pretty good here. I think we're flying a little under the radar, not gonna lie. Vashtor's 225, which feels a little too expensive, honestly. But Warp Talons, 13 points. Raptors, not even 20 points a model for 5. Possessed went up a little bit, but they're pretty good now. And there's, Chosen, 5 for, what is this, 15 points? That's 20, yeah, a 20, wait, oh yeah, 23. Yeah, 23. 23 each. I actually kind of like that for Chosen. But then there's the Lord Discord on Hellstalker is a massive 220. But then the Lord of Skulls went down 130 points, down to 420. lit. I could keep going, right? I could keep going. Oh, I'm going to for a second. Lionel Johnson is 380. Save us. Save our souls. Save our souls. 380. The man is like T9 or something. He gets lone operative. He has like 10 wounds, maybe 9 wounds. He has a 3-up invul with -1 to wound. And he rips. Dark Angel players are eating. I can keep going. I'm so confused. Votann did get major point drops, but they could have gotten more, in my opinion. Pioneers, I think, should have gone down 5. They say, I think, the same. The Call at 90 just feels really expensive. The Sagittar is still 120, which just feels too much overall. Hearthgame Warriors at 135, I'm mostly okay with. I think Hearthguard should have gone down a bit more. Same with Zerks. I think Votann being a 4-up army now, I think needed more points drops. They definitely got points drops, but they didn't get enough. They needed more. I think they genuinely needed more points drops. This is not enough for me. Krons were eating good. Silent King is 470. That's expensive. He's really good though. Will you see him? I'm not quite sure. But he might not be, but he might be just like not, you might not, but like he's really good. So you may or may not see him. But besides that, like the Catans, 265, 255, 270. Doomstalkers, 125, not bad. Reanimator's a bit pricey, but it's really good now. Immortals are 14 a model, it's pretty good. Warriors are 12 a model. I think it's a little bit more expensive than they were before, but I'm kind of okay with that. Most of the characters are cheap. 40 for a Royal Warden, 50 for the Psychomance, 40 for Royal Warden. 40. Oh my God, that's so cheap. Flayed ones are looking pretty all right as well. Death Marks are pretty cheap. I'm actually pretty shocked by that one. Convergence of Dominion is way too expensive. Don't even bother with that one, I don't think. There's a couple others like Vargard Oberyn, 85. A little bit back and forth, but for the most part, I'm pretty happy with Krons. They're looking pretty good, you know? I think they're matching 220 for Zeraz. I expected that. His glow up was phenomenal. His glow up was insane. So that's expected. But Krons are looking more like pretty normal Krons now, which I'm happy about. Orks, I don't even know where to begin with Orks. You know, I don't even really know where to begin. I guess I do like that Captain Badrock is 95 and you can run them with Flash Gits because I just like Captain Badrock from the book. Flash Gits 190 for 10, you know. I like Mozrog, looks pretty good. The Stompa is 800 points. Boys are looking, for the most part, pretty all right. They're under 8.5 points each. You can't go to 30 anymore, which is a little bit unfortunate. But a lot of their characters seem pretty good, you know, 65, 80 for a Beast Boss. I'm actually kind of impressed by. Oh, wait, no, it's not Beast. No, sorry, that's Beast Boss and Squigosaurus, this one. My bad. Gretchen are cheap. They are so cheap. They're so cheap. Gaskell is 235, too. Wow, that's low. But then, like, Space Marines, just this randomness. Like, Centurions are looking way too expensive on both accounts. Heavy Intercessors are looking maybe usable, but I'm a little iffy on them. But then there's the Desolation Marines, the indirect fire ones. 12? Oh, sorry, not 12. 24? 24. They're so good. They're so good. Again with the indirect. How much is the Wyvern? I gotta know. How much is the Wyvern? Or the Whirlwind? 125. That is too cheap. That is too cheap. Indirect is coming back. Oh, speaking of, you want to see too cheap? Tau Empire. Where's the Crisis suits? Crisis battle suits, 390. Oh, that's a little bit expensive. All your drones are free. I'm having a schizophrenic panic attack. All your drones are free. and all your guns are free. It's like you're like 60 something points, 65 points, I think 65 points a model for 3 plasma guns and 2 shield drones and a shield generator. Oh, T5 and 4 wounds with no invul. Oh, please, chump change. How about T5, 6 wounds, 4 up invul, 3 plasma guns. Squad of 6. Throw a commander in there. Throw a cold star, move 12, advance and shoot. Eat my entire ass. Oh, yeah, by the way, Tyranid barb gaunts, the one that slow you down, are 10 points a model. No. The ones where you don't have to pick a model, it's everything they shoot so they can split fire. 10 points a model. No, Carl, no. Oh no, the horror specs is 125. No, 125 for the horror specs. Do you remember? The something of love. Am I doing this night? The night. Where's the nids? Do you remember what the horror specs looks like? Do you remember what he does? Do you remember? Old One Eye. Where is he? He's 140. He's so good. Where is he? Where is the horror specs? 125 for T11, 14 wounds, 3 up save with a precision character sniping and 14 attacks at 712 and 4 extra attacks at 14 to T6 plus 1. And you make everyone battle shock. 125. This psycho page is 125 too. Where's the extra crit? How much is the extra crit? 135 for the extra crit. 135 for the extra crit. We're back to, we're a horde army again, baby! Okay. So, let's have a discussion. Yeah? Let's have a talk together. You and me. Us together. Let's have a talk. So, there are things that are good and bad in every situation for what we have so far. There are. There are reasons why I like some things and reasons why I don't like others. And despite my screaming and crying, things cannot be looked at in a vacuum. You're just not allowed. Armies will pay a points premium for all kinds of reasons. For their army-wide rules, for example. For the characters they can and can't lead. For what characters can and can't lead them. For the war gear they run, and so on. Let's go with sisters because I like sisters and we're talking about sisters because it's the first one. For example, Morvenn Vahl looks super undercosted at 135. But Morvenn Vahl no longer is the insane AoE murder machine that she used to be. She will make a single Paragon squad good. And because of that, very good, in fact. And because of that, you can't really look at Morvenn Vahl as points. You have to look at 3 Paragon suits and Vahl together as points. And if you look at 3 Paragons with Vahl as 375 points, that becomes a bit of a better pill to swallow overall. it still feels a bit cheap, especially if you have, what is it? Multi-meltas on them. But it's different now, right? And you might say, well, good God, that's so good. Let's just strategic reserve them. You can only put 500 points in reserves now. And that's basically all of it right there, 375. So that's pretty much all of it. So you can't really use that anymore. So you have to view it as Morven Vol plus Paragons. Now, 110 for a Battle Sister squad on its own merits with a multi-melta and all this war gear, it's fine. There's a good question to be stated that the Battle Sisters might get to fire off their heavy bolter or their multi-melta maybe once. But a lot of things like flamer, a lot of their weapons are 12 inches, heavy flamer, melta-gun, flamer, so on. And also, Inferno pistol, plasma pistol, and also their melee weapon is all very close range. And there's a good chance you flat out just might not get to put them in. So 110 is bad for them alone, but with gear, iffy. However, if I told you instead it would be 170 and you get to re-roll all hit rolls for the squad, and you also get a bit of a beat stick with the Canoness that has her own guns, and you get the possibility to ignore some psychic damage or get CP refunding. Well, you kind of take it as that a little bit more now, right? You kind of see that differently. Repentia at 150 seem maybe a little pricey, but then you remember the Superior's naturally in there. That changes it up. But then there's you have to take it from that kind of face value, right? There are other things like 10 or 5 Devastator Marines with those big crack missile shots, and their indirect fire is was it 124 each? So 24 times 5 would be 120. So 120 would, I don't know why I just didn't divide by 2. So 120 for 5 Dev Marines with indirect and a really good anti-tank gun with T4 and 2 wound platform. And then you look at Retributors with 5 models at 130. It just doesn't feel comparable. Like, these feel like a massive downgrade compared to those Dev Marines. But, then you might look at something like throwing a Dialogus in that squad of Retributors. And next thing you know, all the Miracle Dice you're using on them become 6s, which is pretty good, especially on multi-meltas. That's really, high quality. And then maybe you could use as many Miracle Dice as you want because the Triumph is maybe nearby. And then you, think about it a bit more, So you have to, there's a lot more balancing that needs to be done now. It's not just the squad, it's who can join the squad. The Canoness, the Palatine, Junith Yeruta, the Missionary, the Preacher, the Doggy Style, the Dialogus, the Dogmata, the Reverse Cowgirl, it's got questions there. Sorry. It's a thing to think about. And so then comes the idea of squad size, right? Because I'm pretty sure Sigmar does the same thing, right? It's all or nothing for squad size. So negatives and positives. On negatives, it kills the customization and list building. Just kills it, outright. Points per model was not a bad system to have. It just kind of wasn't at all. It was a fine enough system to have. And being able to have various squad sizes was kind of fun. It gave it a lot of intrigue and a lot of ways you can build it up and really change up how it is and how it plays and how everything is just here, there, and everywhere. And having multiple squad sizes is really good. Positive. Having set squad sizes makes it very easy for new players to get into the game. You just buy the box. You buy the box. And then, or you buy 2 boxes. And you're done. Also, it does make list building a breeze. I built a list with my Google Doc, and these points in 10 minutes. It took me 10 minutes because I was just like, okay, 10 Celestians. All right, 1 Canoness, cool. To go with, or like Battle Sisters, Canoness to go with it, cool. 10 Zephyrim, Celestine to go with them, cool. Triumph, 10 Battle Sisters, cool. Rhino, 10 Battle Sisters with Immolator to be split. Morvenval, Paragons, 2 Penitent Engines, and something else. Done. It was so easy. It was incredibly easy. And it was very helpful to work with that. Now let's talk about the free war gear. I've got hot takes and also relative takes. So let's go back here. It's a little hard, but here's the thing I'm thinking of. And no, let's do Battle Sisters because we're talking about sisters and it's an easy thing to describe. Hot take. I like free war gear. With a caveat. I think that free war gear is a really fun thing to do. I think it makes it really easy for new players. It also is very fun from a modeling perspective. Because for a long time, in 9th and 8th, people took bare bones squads more than they took squads with special weapons. Because tooling out a squad to be, this was a common problem with Space Marines for a while, and it's been reiterated a lot, and people don't say it much anymore, but I like to say it now. Tooling up a squad to be kind of good at multiple things will always be worse than tooling up certain squads to be good at one thing and bad at everything else. It's actually what made Sisters such a good army for a while. Because the Zephyrim have bad shooting and bad survivability, but they move and they melee like crazy. And being able to pick certain things for certain roles was always better. I didn't take, back in the day with Celestian squads too, Celestian squads and Battle Sister squads with a bunch of weapons. I just didn't, because why would I? I would take the minimum amount I needed for a troop tax as Battle Sisters and then use them to hold back field objectives and then leave them. Because I took my anti-infantry murdering and used it with the Zephyrims. I took my anti-elite and I used it with the Repentia. And I took my anti-tank and I used it with the Retributors. And then sprinkled in some nice characters to taste. And that's one of the reasons why Sisters were so good for a while. And it's the reason why Space Marines sucked. Because Space Marines are supposed to be good at everything. They shoot decently well, they punch decently well, and they're decently survivable. But because they're fine at everything and not great at specific things, they actually got into this bad niche and they ended up just not being very good because they overvalued the importance of the Marine body, like the stat line, you know? So, because of that, no one ever built anything with special weapons. Because it was either tool it all up or tool nothing up. Everything or nothing. And having the ability to be able to take some things now for free may not be well balanced, but it's very fun. It's enjoyable to have mixed squads. My sergeant has a thunder hammer and he might actually hit you. I've got a special relic banner that makes me more powerful for some reason. And I've also got a heavy weapon just in case. That's fun. It's really cool to see on the tabletop too, because then you can go, you might still model for power, but you can get a new box of 10 Battle Sisters and be like, ooh, multi-melta. Ooh, let's give the sergeant a plasma pistol and a power sword. Let's get the simulacrum on her. Like, ooh, I like that. We paint them all up, and they're a nice, mixed, diverse squad, and it's really fun, and it's a good time, and I really like that because then you aren't disincentivized for taking something that can fulfill a role. You're not disincentivized for taking something that can be okay at stuff because it's free. So who cares? But it's a problem when they're not equally represented. And that's the big issue. And I knew you were waiting for me to get to that point. They're not equal. A melt-a-gun and a flamer are not equal at all. And neither is a Stormbolter. A multi-melta, a heavy flamer, and a what is it? Well, these are Dominions. Oh crap! I was like, "Where's the multi-melta and stuff?" I realized I went right past my regular Sisters of Battle. I went right into Dominions. There we go. A multi-melta, a heavy bolter, and a heavy flamer are not equivalent. Actually, in fairness, the multi-melta and the heavy bolter are a bit more equivalent nowadays because of the massive range drop on the multi-melta. But even still, they're not equivalent. And it does create a bit of an issue. Like the Sister Superior bolt gun can be replaced with one of the following: combi weapon, condemner bolt gun, inferno pistol, hand flayer, plasma pistol, bolt pistol. Like, you'll never in your entire life take a bolt pistol. You're never gonna do that. Ever. But, you know, you might take, you know, you got the chainsword, the power weapon. You might take the power weapon if you want the 2 attacks, the chainsword if you want the 3 attacks. So you probably take the power weapon though. But the hand flamer and the inferno pit, like I guess this is actually kind of a bad example because these ones are somewhat well balanced against each other to an extent. But like some of the heavy weapons just aren't. The multi-melta and the flamer. And also, yeah, it says one Battle Sister bolt can be replaced by one of the following: either a special weapon or a heavy weapon. Why would you ever in a million years take the special weapon? Why would you ever take a melta-gun over a multi-melta? You wouldn't. You just wouldn't. And so there is that thing. Like, why would you ever take 2 special weapons instead of a heavy weapon and a special weapon? Unless you wanted to run like double Stormbolter. But just take the heavy bolter. It's better. It's literally better in every way. Statistically, it's better. Yeah, I mean, you guys are hitting worse, but you got sustained hits 1. So my assist to hit is actually made better by the +1 to hit that you confer by sustained hits naturally. And then you've got better strength, better AP. Like they're not balanced with each other. That's the problem. Is that the internal balance between the weapons is off. Now, for some things, like let's say the Sacrosanct, it's kind of okay because it's like, all right, your Superior's bolt pistol can be replaced by one of these 3s. Pick which one you want. You're like, hand flamer, 12-inch range, good anti-horde. Plasma pistol, good anti-elite, it's only 1 shot. Inferno pistol, anti-tank, but it's short range. You know, whatever. But why would you ever take the bolt pistol? You wouldn't. You just wouldn't. So I don't know. I like free war gear, but free war gear is not balanced against itself. Also, it punishes you for not taking the free war gear. If you wanted to go only bolt gun battle sisters just because you felt like you wanted that, tough shit. Because you're kind of paying for the extra guns. So okay, so yeah, it's a lot going on here. Here's me wrapping this up. I like free war gear because it's fun, it's modeled enjoyable, and it's just an overall, like, it's just kind of an enjoyable idea to me. I just like the concept of it. It's fun to model. It's got lots of cool stuff. It's mixed squads, and it doesn't punish you for taking units that can be okay at stuff. You don't need to just take bare bones this and totally tooled up this, because that's what 9th was. Bare bones stuff to shove at your opponent and hold objectives, and ridiculously tooled up stuff that you put every single buff known to man on and let them and then send them at the opponent. But the internal balance of the special weapons is not there, and that's an issue. That is purely an issue that we're struggling with. especially because you also need to balance the internal free war gear with the character that is being balanced with the unit. It's a bit awkward. The 5 to 10 unit size thing I think is really annoying as well. It just kills customization in general. I don't like hate it. It's annoying, but it doesn't like just totally fucking ruin me. I think one of the largest points of salt in this entire thing is that this is a bit confusing with the models like this. The free war gear is just, there's so much going on. And also, we, like, this might not stick around. It just might not stick, you know? We might get all this free war gear, all this free stuff, and then we're like, awesome. And then we're going to build all kinds of fun new models and fun new special weapons and fun new heavy weapons. And then halfway through, they change up the edition with a GT pack. And then next thing you know, war gear costs points again. Like, what the hell? You know? I don't know. I don't know how to like go about that. And then everything gets thrown off a lot because this is not, as much as they try to balance it like a video game, it's not a video game. This is physical models that have staying power and matter. And while obviously you shouldn't build and paint for the meta, which we've talked about many times before, there's still a certain level of like a deft touch to work with. Especially when you come to like reducing amounts you can take, like penitent engines. I know people who loved these things, loved them, and they had like 12 of them because they wanted to run 3 squads of 4 because they loved them. And now they can only ever own 6. So they literally have 6 penitent engines that are doing nothing. They are just totally worthless now, which is really awful. I think I have like maybe 8 penitent engines myself. And then you know what doesn't help? You know what just doesn't help? It feels like the points are just made like, it's like they just threw it at a dartboard. Genuinely, the points make no sense to me. Necrons, smooth, liking it. Sisters, liking it. CSM, liking it. Marines, no clue. Some of those things look way too good. Tyranids, oh my god, 125 point horror specs. Admech, pistol, turned sideways to your cranium, shot in the dirt. Eldar, aspect warriors, terrible. Wraith knights and heavy weapons, good God save us all. Vindicare assassin, 80 points. What the hell? Guard, get ready for indirect for life. This is the thing. This is what I'm trying to say. It's like, it's so weird. It doesn't make any sense. Some things are insane. Some things cost nothing. Some things are way overcosted, Votann and Admech. Some things are way undercosted. A lot of Marines and Nids. And honestly, a lot of Tau, I think, too. I think Tau's a little scary, I think. I don't know. I don't know. So, all in all, hot take, I actually like free war gear, but it needs to be properly balanced for it. And it's not currently. The profiles are not properly balanced for free war gear. The squad size thing is annoying. There's some pluses to it that I get, but at the same time, I don't much like it. It kind of kills a bit of customization. And honestly, it's just the point costs. The point costs, I think more than anything, those dartboard throws are just very, very confusing. As you can tell, I'm like massively conflicted. I see the point behind changes, but at the same time, a lot of them are just wacky wild. I don't know. I'm totally torn. They're ripping my head in 2 different directions. Right now, it's mostly salt. But I think that's just like psychology. The things that are bad will always weigh heavier in your mind than the things that are good. It's just the way it is. It's just how it is. If 50% of the things are bad, 50% are good, you feel like 80% of the things are bad. That's just how like our brains work. So I don't know. I think we are going to need to, obviously we're going to need to wait, because even though we have points, we have rules, we don't have missions, and we haven't played it. We even at the end, there is still a slight bit of gotta wait and see, because how things play out in the game could be wildly different. You can theory craft all you want, but you never know. Okay. That's it for me. I'm glad sisters are good, I think, maybe. But it's a lot going on. Best of luck. The Wild West is here, and the points respect that. Oh.